quick little recap. What have we been covering? Let's go back and see. Elisha's been doing some miracles, right? He pretty much went through a similar arc, I guess you could say, that Elijah did, right? Meeting a woman and, healing their son, doing some food-related miracles. And now we're over at chapter 6. We had Naaman. Naaman was healed of leprosy. So yeah, that's what we just finished off with. Now we're at chapter 6. This will be interesting. We're talking about a story that I always liked. Just because you'll see. It's interesting.
And the sons of the prophets said to Elisha,
See
just off the title, you could see it's
now, the place where we dwell with you is too small for us. Please, let us go to the Jordan, and let every man take a beam from there, and let us make there a place where we may dwell.
Go.
Please consent to go with your servants.
I will go.
So he went with them. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. But as one was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell into the water, and he cried out,
Alas, master, for it was borrowed.
Where did it fall?
and he showed him the place. So he cut off a stick and threw it in there, and he made the iron float.
Pick it up for yourself.
So
Like that just visually
he
is
reached
cool.
out his hand and took it.
That axe had more faith than Peter.
Now the king of Syria was making war against Israel, and he consulted with his servants, saying, "My camp will be in such and such a place." And the man of God sent to the king of Israel,
Beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are coming down there.
Then the king of Israel sent someone to the place of which the man of God had told him. Thus he warned him, and he was watchful there, not just once or twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was greatly troubled by this thing, and he called his servants and said to them,
Will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel?
None, my lord, O king. But Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedroom.
Go and see where he is,
Oh, snap.
that I may send and get him.
Surely he is in Dothan.
Therefore he sent horses and chariots and a great army there, and they came by night and surrounded the city. And when the servant of the man of God arose early and went out, there was an army surrounding the city with horses and chariots. And his
Couldn't get
servant
out.
said to him,
Alas, my master, what shall we do?
Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them.
and Elisha prayed.
Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see.
Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. So when the Syrians came down to him,
Whoa. So does Elisha see that all the time? Yo, imagine the confidence you have walking around if you see angels and all that stuff walking with you everywhere you go. Like, you know that there's something, like, I mean, we know it, but you're reminded of it all the time, that there's something beyond this world, right? This is not your permanent residence. Your home is in heaven. And if you're constantly reminded that every single day, you have one foot in the other world in heaven, right? If you're seeing horses and chariots of fire all around you, like, you know you have the heavenly hosts at your back all the time, and you're seeing it every day. Like, dang, imagine your outlook on life. I want to get to that point, man. That would be amazing. Yeah. Holy. That's giving me Neo in the Matrix vibes when he was blind, but he could see the machine world. Like, he's just seeing this other thing that nobody else can see, and then now his servant saw it, and I can't imagine what his reaction would be like. His mind must have been blown.
It's a fire all around Elisha. So when the Syrians came down to him, Elisha prayed to the Lord,
Strike this people, I pray, with blood.
Yeah, Elijah could walk up into an enemy army and be completely like completely confident. That's crazy.
Blindness.
and he struck them with blindness, according to the word of Elisha. Now Elisha said to them,
This is...
I wonder what Elijah has done. If Elijah has done anything like this that Elisha is doing. Elisha is doing some crazy stuff, right? So, and he must have seen Elijah do some things, or Elisha has gained this experience and this close-knit relationship with God and all this stuff, and we haven't really seen the development. All right, maybe that could be the case, or Elijah has done some stuff and it hasn't been documented. Because we haven't seen a prophet do stuff like, hey, make them all blind. Look, I got an army of fiery chariots behind me. Like, we haven't seen anything that, like, explicit. But I mean, Elijah did the pray to God, and then the fire came down from heaven and burnt up the offering and all the water. That was like the most explicit, like, visual representation of God, like, that we've seen. But with Elisha's going, like, he's just he is just going all out with it.
blindness, according to the word of...
I wonder why why Jesus didn't. I mean, he did miracles and helped people. So, but with the three temptations in the desert, Satan wanted Jesus to jump, right? To show the people, the angels will catch you and you won't get hurt. I mean, I guess these aren't signs for signs' sake. Well, I guess you could say the burning of the offering and all the water in the moat was a sign for sign's sake to turn the people back. So, I'm curious how and when God picks these circumstances to show His power, and when He deems it right and worthwhile doing. Yeah, that would be a good question to ask, I guess, Him in heaven.
Elisha. Now Elisha said to them,
This is not the way, nor is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek.
but he led them to Samaria. So it was, when they had come to Samaria, that Elisha said,
Lord, open the eyes of these men that they may see.
and the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and there they were, inside Samaria.
So Elisha's pulling a Dr. Xavier on these guys, completely like blindsiding them. They're walked all the way to Samaria and they didn't even know what they were seeing. I wonder what they were seeing. Probably just desert or something. Holy.
Now when the king of Israel saw them, he said to Elisha,
My father, shall I kill them? Shall I kill them?
You shall not kill them. Would you kill those whom you have taken captive with your sword and your bow? Set food and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master.
Then he prepared a great feast for them. And after they ate and drank, he sent them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syrian raiders came no more into the land of Israel.
Yeah, after seeing something like that.
And it happened after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his army, and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria. And indeed they besieged it, until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and 1/4 of a cab of dove droppings for 5 shekels of silver.
So they're showing that the inflation was insane. The value of just the most basic necessities skyrocketed because there was no way to get stuff, right? They couldn't leave. They couldn't import, export because they had the entire army of Syria around them.
Then, as the king of Israel was passing by on
Tight
the
on
wall,
resources.
a woman cried out to him,
Help, my lord, O king!
If the Lord does not help you, where can I find help for you? From the threshing floor or from the wine press? What is troubling you?
This woman said to me, give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow.
Just
So
refuse.
we boiled my son and ate him. And I said to her on the next day, give your son, that we may eat him. But she has hidden her son.
Now it happened, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he tore his clothes. And as
Yeah.
he passed by on the wall,
What?
the people looked, and there, underneath,
Why would you give your son? Why would you even... Who came up with that idea? The other lady came up with that idea. But she had no intention of giving up her son from the get-go, 100%. But you gave up your son? You boiled your kid and ate him? Isn't this exactly what God warned? This is exactly what God warned would happen if you follow paganism. You will be besieged by your enemies, and you will eat your own children, and your children will eat you and all that stuff. We were talking about that. It was like some Attack on Titan level stuff. Moses cursed the people, saying that. You boiled your son and ate him. And you expected the other lady to do the same because she's the one who came up with the idea. Yeah. Why would you think that she would do something like that? Why would you do that to your own? I guess it shows how desperate these people are. They're that desperate for it to survive. Wait, time out. You're that desperate to survive that you ate your own kid. You valued your life over your own child? How old was this kid? You boiled him. I'm guessing he's a baby. Because you didn't chop up an older kid and put him in a... This is sick. All right, I'm moving on. This is sick.
And as he passed by on the wall, the people looked, and there, underneath, he had sackcloth on his body.
God do so to me, and more also, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, remains on him today.
But Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him. And the king sent a man ahead of him, but before the messenger came to him, he said to the elders,
Do you see how this son of a murderer has sent someone to take away my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him?
And while he was still talking with them, there was the messenger coming down to him. Then the king said,
Surely this calamity is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer?
That's... My mind is still blown off of that. Dang.
Hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, tomorrow about this time, a seah of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria.
So an officer, on whose hand the king leaned, answered the man of God,
Look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could this thing be?
In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat of it.
Now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate. And they said to one another,
"Why are we sitting here until we die? If we say we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall only die."
And they're
rose
camped
at
outside,
twilight to go
having
to the
some
camp
nice
of the
roast
Syrians.
meat on the fire.
And when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise, no one was there.
Man, this is a great way to take down a city without losing any of your men. This is an effective method. It may take a while, but if you have the time, you don't lose one of your men, and man, this is messed up.
For the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, the noise of a great army. So they said to one another,
Look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us.
Therefore they arose and fled at twilight and left the camp
And
intact.
they're seeing things, hearing things.
Tents, their horses, and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and ate and drank, and carried from it silver and gold and clothing, and went and hid them. Then they came back and entered another tent, and carried some from there also, and went and hid it. Then they said to one another,
"We are not doing right. This day is a day of good news, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore, come, let us go and tell the king's household."
Would they even listen to you? You're lepers? They let
So
you
they
in to
went
tell?
and called to the gatekeepers of the city and told them,
"We went to the Syrian camp, and surprisingly no one was there. Not a human sound, only horses and donkeys tied, and the tents intact."
And the gatekeepers called out, and they told it to the king's household inside. So the king arose in the night and said to his servants,
Let me now tell you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we are hungry. Therefore they have gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, "When they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and get into the city."
No, that's
One
not
of
what's
his
happening.
servants answered,
Please let several men take 5 of the remaining horses which are left in the city. Look, they may either become like all the multitude of Israel that are left in it, or indeed, I say they may become like all the multitude of Israel left from those who are consumed. So let us send them and see.
Man, how many
Therefore
people
they
were
took
eaten?
2 chariots with horses, and the king sent them in the direction of the Syrian army.
Go and see.
And they went after them to the Jordan. And indeed, all the road was full of garments and weapons, which the Syrians had thrown away in their haste. So the messengers
How long
returned
was
and
this
told the king.
siege?
Then the people went out and plundered the tents of the Syrians. So a seah of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord.
I want to look that up. Did it mention how long the famine was? 6:26:24. Let me look it up. Syria besieges Samaria in famine. Famine and war. Is this the same famine? 7 years? Finally learned that it was the prophet Elisha who responded for his... No. This is the previous... Wait, no, that was with Elijah. So this is that... Smite them in blindness, right? This is the same thing. Okay, so 7-year famine. Okay.
Now the king had appointed
That's a
the
long
officer
time.
on whose hand he leaned to have charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, just as the man of God had said, who
Oh, but I wanted to know how long the siege was. Do we know that?
spoke when the king came down to him. So it happened, just as the man of God had spoken to the king.
2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and a seah of fine flour for a shekel, shall be sold tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria.
Then that officer had answered the man of God,
Now look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could such a thing be?
And he had said,
In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat of it.
And so it happened to him, for the people trampled him in the gate, and he died.
I'm going to read that part again. Now the king had appointed the officer on whose hand he leaned to have charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, just as the man of God had said, who spoke when the king came down to him. So it happened just as the man of God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and a seah of fine flour for a shekel, shall be sold tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. So they're all rushing to get food. Then that officer had answered the man of God and said, Now look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could such a thing be? And he, meaning like windows in heaven for food to drop through, like could that even be possible? Like how can we have that much food? And he had said, in fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. So the man of God is saying, there's going to be so much food. You guys come, we're gonna sell some food. And then the officer is like, yeah, that's impossible. Even if God had made windows in heaven for food to fall out from, I don't even think that's possible. So then the man of God said, yeah, you'll see, but due to your lack of faith, you're not going to eat anything. And so it happened to him, for the people trampled him in the gate, and he died. So how long was the siege? How long was the siege? Do we know how long? The account of the siege of Samaria continues the series of salvation lessons from the ministry of Elisha. Okay. No, we don't want a lesson. I just want how long. I mean, it didn't say in the Bible, right? And it happened after this, Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his army and went up and besieged Syria. And there was a great famine in Samaria. And indeed, they besieged it until a donkey was sold for 80 shekels of silver and 1/4 of a cob of dove droppings for 5 shekels of silver. Let's see if my Bible commentary has anything to say. The siege of Samaria, the capital of Israel, was Ben-Hadad's final attempt to destroy his rival Jehoram of Israel. Yeah, no actual time. I'm guessing it's going to have to be years for people to start eating each other. Why would they get so desperate, you know? For all their supplies of food to run out and to the point where they're eating each other. Yeah, man, that sucks. Because the famine lasted 7 years, I think. So,
Then Elisha spoke to the woman whose son he had restored to life.
Arise and go, you and your household, and stay wherever you can, for the Lord has called for a famine.
okay, so we're jumping back a little bit.
And furthermore, it will come upon the land for 7 years.
All right, there we go.
So the
That's a
woman
7-year
arose
famine.
and did according to the saying of the man of God. And she went with her household and dwelt in the land of the Philistines.
A lot of
7
famines
years.
in the land, huh?
It came to pass, at the end of 7 years, that the woman returned from the land of the Philistines, and she went to make an appeal to the king for her house and for her land. Then the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of God.
The greedy guy.
Tell me, please, all the great things Elisha has done.
Now it happened, as he was telling the king how he had restored the dead to life, that there was the woman whose son he had restored to life, appealing to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said,
My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this...
Okay, so the king is asking Gehazi about Elisha. He's explaining. And then, yeah, see, the ordering is a bit odd. And then the woman shows up and is pleading for her house and stuff like that, petitioning, appealing for her house. And then and Gehazi realizes and points it out.
This is her son whom Elisha restored to life.
And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed a certain officer for her.
Restore all that was hers, and all the proceeds of the field from the day that she left the land until now.
Then Elisha went to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, was sick. And it was told him,
The man of God has come here.
Take a present in your hand, and go to meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, Shall I recover from this disease?
So Hazael went to meet him, and took a present with him of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camel loads. And he came and stood before him.
Let's see if Elijah's
Your
servant gets
son,
greedy again.
Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, has sent me to you, saying, Shall I recover from this disease?
Go, say to him, you shall certainly recover. However, the Lord has shown me that he will really die.
Then
when?
he set
I
his
mean, we all
countenance
die,
in a
right?
stare until he was
Not-
ashamed. And the man of God...
I mean, he's not going to die of the disease, right? Because he's going to recover. Or he's just going to recover and then die? What's the point of recovering?
in a stare until he was ashamed. And the man of God wept.
Uh-huh.
And Hazael said,
Why is my lord weeping?
Because I know the evil that you will do to the children of Israel. Their strongholds you will set on fire, and their young men you will kill with the sword. You will dash their children and rip open their women with child.
But what is your servant, a dog, that he should do this gross thing?
The Lord has shown me that you will become king over Syria.
Then he departed from Elisha and came to his master, who said to him,
What did Elisha say to you?
He told me you would surely recover.
But it happened on the next day that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it over his face so that he died. And Hazael reigned in his place.
What was that?
Now, in the
8:15. Having succeeded Ben-Hadad as king, that's already talking about the succession. But what was that? What do you guys think that was? But it happened on the next day that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it over his face so that he died. So he couldn't breathe? But why didn't he just take it off? It was not an accident, surely. But he recovered, so why would he kill himself? We don't know. There's no context in the Bible, so.
And Hazael reigned in his place. Now, in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat having been king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, began to reign as king of Judah. He was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem.
And the timeline is so weird because we had already covered this part of the story. I mean, the timeline is not weird. The way they're covering the timeline is very weird. They're not going chronically. They're jumping all over the place. Because because Israel, the kings are constantly changing, right? So they were matching with that. And then they were saying after this king, they were going down one line for Israel, and then they were talking about Judah. But then now they got to go back to Judah because we had longer spans of the same king. Like, the way they're covering the kings is very odd. Yeah, it's very odd. It's not ordered. It's not ordered in an easy to follow natural way.
And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, just as the house of Ahab had done.
Right, we knew that actually.
For the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Yet the Lord would...
Wait, what? And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel. Wait, this is Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat. I thought he was good. Well, guess not. What the? I guess we were assuming that he was good. Because he's the son of Jehoshaphat. Because Jehoshaphat was fine. Oh, come on. So now we got everybody's down now again. We had at least at this point, like Judah has been, for a few kings, has been on the right track with God. But now everybody's down.
Not destroy Judah for the sake of his servant David, as he promised
because he gave Judah
to give a lamp
the David's
to him
descendants.
and his sons forever.
Yeah.
In his days, Edom revolted against Judah's authority and made a king over themselves. So Joram went to Zair.
Man, the promised land is getting more fractured.
Then he rose by night and attacked the Edomites who had surrounded him and the captains of the chariots, and the troops fled to their tents. Thus Edom has been in revolt against Judah's authority to this day.
Dang.
And Libnah revolted at that time. Now the rest of the acts of Joram and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Joram rested with his fathers.
And we need that book.
And was buried with his fathers in the city of David. Then Ahaziah his son.
Okay, we did read
reigned in his
Ahaziah
place.
reigning.
In the 12th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Ahaziah,
Yeah, and
the son
Ahaziah
of
paid for his
Jehoram,
sins. We
king
saw
of
that. We
Judah,
saw that.
began to reign. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri, king of Israel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. Now he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, to war against Hazael, king of Syria, at Ramoth-Gilead, and the Syrians wounded Joram. Then King Joram went back to Jezreel to recover from the wounds which the Syrians had inflicted on him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael, king of Syria. And Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, in Jezreel, because he was sick.
And so many kings to keep track of. It's a lot. Well, that's it for today. A lot happened in today's reading. A lot. A lot of deaths. A lot of significant events. A lot of battle. Not really a battle, but strategic warfare. Tomorrow is chapter 9. And we have a new king of Israel. So hopefully Israel turns a new leaf and moves on into a more godly path. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. So hope you guys enjoyed today's reading, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow for chapter 9 of 2 Kings. All right? If you guys have a great day, take care. Bye-bye.